Hi everybody, this is Carissa with Inky Fairy Designs, and I'm back with you this week with another Brutus Monroe project. Today we're creating some ATCs, which are super fun to make. I pulled out some mixed media stencils. This is the Aster stencil. I absolutely love it. And then we have the digital drops, which is a really fun one as well. We just want to create some texture in our ATCs, so that's why I pulled these things out. Then I pulled this stamp set out for this text stamp, Kind Floral. We're going to add a little bit of text to our background as well. To create our beautiful, colorful backgrounds, we're going to use some Aqua Pigments today. I've got pink, yellow, orange, and magenta for our warm tone ATCs. And then I pulled out some cool colors, violet, turquoise, and blue-green. We're also going to be using this black or dark gray from the Skin Tone Aqua Pigment set. Of course, we're going to be stamping in with the detail ink Raven. I want to have some white acrylic paints, a white gel pen, my black Stabilo all-purpose pencil with a water brush, and then I always like to put on some quotes, so I pulled out some stickers. And then I forgot I had this in my stash. I don't think it's available anymore, but all you need is something to create some more texture with the paint. So that's all of the supplies that we're going to be using. I didn't show you the surface sprays, did I? We're also going to be using the surface sprays in Locomotive and Aubergine. And then I'm going to be working on some hot press watercolor paper. You just want something sturdy. And I like the watercolor paper for making ATCs. So I'm going to start by making the backgrounds, and all I am doing is dropping some of the Aqua Pigments onto my glass media mat, and thus I picked out a warm grouping of colors and then a cool grouping of colors, and I'm keeping them together. I'll add a little bit of water to get those pigments moving. Then I'm just going to place my paper right on top and sop up that color. And you can see it's just a really fun way, fast and easy, not thinking about it, which is really what you want to do, or what I want to do when I'm making ATCs. I just want to play, I just want to lose myself in the process, and I find creating backgrounds like this is a really great way to do that. I'm not overthinking it. I am just allowing the color to do its own thing, and it's really organic. So I'm going to do the same thing with the warm tones that I pulled out, and just dropping them on my glass media mat. Now you could, if you don't have a glass media mat, you could do this on a just on the mixed media mat that Brutus Monroe carries, or any type of media mat like that. Something that you just want to be able to clean up easy. So now I'm just going to do the same thing, put my watercolor paper into that bit of ink or pigment, and then let that dry. I did speed it up with a heat tool. So here comes the stenciling and the surface sprays, and I'm just spraying some of that color I absolutely love, and then I flip it over to get that excess spray onto other areas of that background, and I'm not wasting it that way, and I'm also getting a different type of texture onto my background. This is really just a playtime. I'm not thinking about it. I am not worried about the placement or anything. I'm not even worried about getting some of that overspray and seeing the squares of the stencil. It's not about that. I'm just building up a background, just having some fun. So when that layer dried, I am coming in and adding a bit more texture with the stamp that I'm using, and it's just it's a sentiment. It has an actual sentiment on it. It's a beautiful sentiment. I don't know what it says because I just wanted that script look in my background. I love script and text in my mixed media, and I love these big fonts and sentiments that Brutus Monroe has in their stamp sets, and they're great for adding texture in projects like this. I actually show you in a previous video a couple of weeks ago on how to stamp through a stencil, and I use another text stamp to do that. So here I'm going to add just more texture. I'm just adding textures. I'm just building my background, and it's not about what it looks like quite yet, because we're cutting them down to a 2.5 by 3.5 size ATC. It doesn't really matter if it looks super busy, because once we cut it down to that size, it's not going to look overwhelming at all. So here I'm using some white acrylic paint, and I'm putting it on this like corrugated cardboard that was in that paper pack that Brutus Monroe used to carry, and it's a great way to add this like line texture to my projects. And if you don't have this, rip up some cardboard, peel off the back, and you'll get that look. So just use what you have, find what you have, and look around, and you'll be amazed at what things you can use for texture just lying around your house. So I made a couple of other ATCs in a video previously as well. I'll go ahead and link both of those here in the iCards so you guys can check those out if you want more inspiration on using stamps as texture backgrounds, and also creating other ATCs that I have created. So here I am adding some more of that white paint to my background with a broken paintbrush. Yes, I am using a broken paintbrush. That's what I'm talking about, using things around the house that you have. The actual paintbrush part fell off of this, but I loved the circle that it left behind, and it's great for making marks in my mixed media. So some things just don't get thrown away. You can use it over and over. So I'm just adding that here and there. And I feel like this really breaks up the busyness of the background, just adding those chunky dots all along the background. So now I'm pretty happy with my background, and I'm ready to cut these down. Now, like I mentioned before, an ATC is the size 2.5 by 3.5. An ATC stands for Artist Trading Card. These are really big among artists to trade with, obviously, hence the name, because you're being able to share a little piece of yourself, a little piece of your art with other artists who may have completely different styles or similar styles. And there's a lot of times when there are big swaps with ATCs because it's easy to mail. They're small size. You can just put them in a standard envelope and mail them with a stamp. So they're really fun. I have artist trading cards from so many of my artist and crafting friends. Even card makers have really embraced the ATC by creating cards that are 2.5 by 3.5. They might not be so painty and mixed media like the ones you're seeing here. Maybe they cut down some pattern paper to that size and create like these little mini card fronts, putting on their favorite stamped images and creating them that way. So it's a really left up to your imagination and your artistic whatever makes you happy, and this is just what makes me happy. I love mixed media. You can find a lot of it here on my channel. I share some of it here with Brutus Monroe, and it's just one of the many things that I love to do. So super excited to get this challenge this week to create these with you. I know in my previous video, it was a very quick, like, it wasn't a whole video on ATC, so I was really happy to kind of slow it down for you and show you my process. So you can see I use the detail ink to just ink up the edges of my cards, and then the final thing that I do is I just pick quotes from these awesome word stickers. So many different companies have them, and they're always uplifting and positive words. And I just kind of look for ones that speak to me in that moment, and I just pop them right on there. Don't even really think about where it is. And then what I love to do with those is outline them with a Stabilo Marks All pencil that just shades, add a little bit of shading around them and makes them stand out a little bit more from that background. So once I'm done kind of outlining all of the cards, I will go in and activate that. It's a water soluble pencil. I will activate that with a water brush, and then you'll see that it gets very, very dark and creates that shadow around it. So here you're going to go ahead and see that. So I just love the way you can see how it just really makes those words and quotes pop against that background. Just love that little bit of extra oomph around that. Yeah, I think that really wraps it up. I'm going to once I'm done doing all of this, I'm going to take my white gel pen once that is dry and kind of add a little bit of frame around those words, just very sketchy. And then I'm going to add a border around each of the cards. Again, very, very sketchy. It's not meant to be perfect. These ATCs I really love to make because I don't think a lot when I'm making them. I'm just really playing. And then I'm really happy with the outcome in the end. And I got to have a little bit of fun and uh, you know, relieve a little bit of stress. I normally gravitate towards cool colors, and so I knew that I wanted to make some the blue and purples here. They just look so beautiful. I love the different stencils that I picked out, not even really thinking, but I love how they kind of contrast each other because we have those lines, those digital dots, and then we have the beautiful floral, and I think they just play against each other. The other thing I really love about these cards is the aubergine is just such a beautiful contrast against the yellow and the orange and the pink. That just was so like so unexpected, and these yellow and orange pink cards ended up being my favorite, even though my favorite colors are turquoise and purple. So you just never know what you're going to create and what you're going to fall in love with. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to see more videos like this one. And if you're inspired by anything that you see here on the Brutus Monroe channel, definitely use the tag Brutus Monroe and share in our Facebook group. If you're inspired by anything that I create, please feel free to tag me on social media at Inky Fairy Designs. I love to come and see what you guys are creating and leave a little bit of love on your accounts as well, because I know that makes my heart happy when you guys leave comments on the videos. So thank you again. I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Bye.